welcome back to my channel, and oh my god, update 10 was finally added yesterday and I was so hyped for it. I may or may not have played it for 8 hours straight yesterday. I need to get a life. But there are so many things added in this update. There's the Easter event raid, there is the Easter egg hunt, there is the mines, pet gems, new area called the Underworld, which you get at level 595, several new weapons, and I'm gonna go over all of that, except for before I continue, I am gonna say I'm not going into the Easter egg hunt this video. That is far too complicated to cover in this video with everything else, so that I will most likely make a video on that later this week. But let's hop into this one. I'm gonna start with the new drops from the Underworld. So the Underworld is a very interesting place. A lot of the items are very, very unique, and they are much more specialized than anything else we've seen in the past. First, I'll go over the basic weapons. So, the main thing you want to farm in this area is the boss in the Purgatory Realm. What is the Purgatory Realm? So, you guys know the demon boss fight in the lava area, how you teleport to it? Like it's like a secret mini boss, and like the Titan Warlord and all that stuff is basically like that. And it is a mini boss in there called the Spirit Guide. So what does the Spirit Guide drop? Well, first I'll go over two of his swords. The first sword I'll talk about is the Sword of the Demon King. This sword is level 600 and has 69,000 damage. This is a must grab if you do not have the True Blue Katana. This is a pretty easy weapon to obtain too. I've actually gotten several of these and I have not farmed the Spirit Guide too much. This weapon is better than the Azure Dagger, so I highly recommend you do your best to acquire it. What else does this mini boss drop? Well, he also drops a even better sword. The actual second best weapon in the game, it is called the Demon Slayer. It has 75,000 damage and also requires level 600. I recommend every single player who does not have True Blue Katana to farm Spirit Guide until you get the Demon Slayer. I was able to get this pretty quickly without too much hassle, except for if you do have True Blue Katana, that is still the best weapon in the game at 80,010 damage, and I doubt that's going to be topped anytime soon. It'll probably be topped in the next raid, but that won't be for a little bit. What else does this mini boss drop, you may ask? Well, he drops an accessory and armor that are very specialized and interesting. So his accessory is called the Necklace of the Eye. It is level 600. It has 12,000 attack, 0 crit, 20 speed, 10 defense, 50 HP. Now you may be wondering, 12,000 attack at level 600, that's crazy, right? Well, it also has 0 crit and 10 defense and 50 HP. So essentially it's a glass cannon. But here's the thing, it has 20 speed. That is why this item is, in my opinion, it can be very viable if you are running speed runs. If you're farming Crystal Caves or you're farming the new Easter raid and you do not need a lot of damage and a lot of defensive stats, this can be very good to use simply due to speed. However, your critical goes way down, same with all of your defensive stats. So it's a very risky item to use, and in my opinion, if you're doing Nest, this item is garbage for that. You need to have crit. Crit is so important in high levels. Crit is where most of your damage come from. If you cannot crit, you will not be doing nearly as much damage as you could. So should you farm this item? Yes and no. If you want a set that's good for speedrunning, I recommend you farm it. But if you're just looking for a better attack item, I recommend you still farm the Ring of the Colossal Dragon from the Nest, because it has 12,500 attack, 69 crit, 10 speed, 0 defense, and 3,200 HP. It is far superior overall, so that is still a far better offensive accessory. But before I get any further into this video, I want to give a major shout out to Gabby for literally giving me 5 runes yesterday for no reason. The Spirit Guide still drops one more thing. He drops armor. He is the very first non-raid boss to drop armor. This is the most specialized armor in the entire game. It is known as the Armor of the Forsaken, and it is very, very interesting. But it has 25,000 attack, making it the highest attack stat armor in the game. Except it has 0 crit, 0 defense, and 0 HP. So you may be wondering, okay, well, Shastra, that sounds like crap. Except for this armor gives 20 speed. The only armor in the entire game to give you speed. Keep that in mind. This armor plus the necklace of the eye, plus the aura from the sun temple is plus 42 speed. So you can have 52 plus 42 speed, making you literally Sonic. So I think what they pretty much did was give us a speedrun set for literally, in my opinion, if you want to run Crystal Caves, you kind of want to get this set because you can run it much quicker and you'll still be doing plenty of damage, except for you will not be critting very much. So overall, which armor is better, Forsaken or Divine? Well, Divine Play of Champions is still far superior due to it giving you so much more health and defense. So that is pretty much everything in the Underworld. Let's move on to the Coliseum and the Mine Raid. So what is the Coliseum? It is a new zone where the Horned Champion will spawn in, except for he does not spawn in very often, and that is something I want to get into. You have to farm the Horned Champion pretty rigorously in order to get keys from him. What are keys, you're asking? Well, you must get key drops in order to unlock an attempt at the new Mine Raid, which is the only way to get pet gems. So why am I going over this? Well, the Horned Champion has a very low drop rate on keys. I struggled to get keys. It was so hard for me to get keys. It took me roughly 6 hours to get a single tier 1 pet gem, but I'll get into that a little bit later. So you need to farm this boss a ton. And he has a very slow respawn rate of what I think is 5 minutes. If that's not correct, correct me down in the comments. But it takes a very long time for him to respawn. So it is extremely difficult to farm keys for the raid. But let's move on to the raid. What is the raid? Well, the Mine Raid is an exceptionally important raid. You need to get pet gems. Pet gems are so good. I have a tier 1 pet gem at the moment, and it has plus 10% damage output, plus 10% critical damage output, increasing your damage output by a lot. It made a huge difference. Except for, in my opinion, it is far too difficult to craft a tier 1 rune. It took me roughly 6 hours to craft a single tier 1 rune. You must craft 2 tier 1 runes in order to even get a chance to craft a tier 2 rune, and I'll get into that. The only way to get the materials to craft gems, I was calling them runes a second ago, I apologize. The only way you can craft the pet gems is with gem dust and the purple solidifier, which only drop from the Mine Raid, which you need keys to get into. These have very low drop rates, and I struggled to get them myself, and it took me a very long time to get enough gem dust to craft this thing. So it is hard. You have to wait 5 minutes to kill the boss to even get a chance at a key, which has a low drop rate, and you need to get keys to even get a chance at getting materials to get pet gems. And even if you're crafting a level 1 pet gem, you only have a 75% chance to actually get one. Yeah, pet gems are kind of insane to get, and in my opinion, they're a little bit too difficult to acquire, and I think the way to solve this is make the Horned Champion spawn in much quicker. But I'm gonna move on to what else is there. Well, let's get into the crafting of the pet gems. You need 3 gem dust and 1 purple solidifier to craft a tier 1 pet gem. You need 3 gem dust and 1 purple solidifier and 2 crafted tier 1 pet gems to get a 50% chance to get a tier 2 pet gem. Then the same thing for a tier 3 pet gem, except for 2 tier 2 pet gems. It is extremely difficult to get pet gems, and they are pretty much the ultimate endgame item, and I recommend you guys do your best to farm for these, although this is very difficult. So what else was added in this update? Well, I want to go over the Easter egg raid event. I greatly enjoy this raid event. I think it's pretty fun, and the boss is the low-key the hardest raid boss in the game. I struggle more with the bunny boss at the end of this than I do hardcore Nest solo on the final boss. Why? Well, he has a phase where he traps you in an egg and you must click the buttons on your screen to escape. He also has a phase to where he will jump up and slam the ground, and if he slams the ground while you're standing on the ground, you will instantly die. You get about 2 seconds to react. He can put you in the egg, which makes it so you may not move, and it takes roughly 5 seconds to break out of it, depending on it really just depends on your reaction time. He can use the move that kills you instantly while you're in the egg, making it physically impossible to survive. In my opinion, he should not be able to do that because, in my opinion, a boss should never, ever, ever be able to do something that makes it to where it's impossible for you to survive unless you have a chance to survive it. Yes, Nest has an insta-kill phase if you mess up the crystal order, but that's different. You have a chance. With the egg and insta-kill thing, you really have no chance. But what drops from the Easter event raid? Well, 4 vanity items drop. And currently I have 5, but I only have 2 variety. I have 2 of the Sword of the Rainbow Egg, and I have 3 of the Bunny Daggers. But you may notice that they're all untradeable. In my opinion, these items must become tradable after this event is over for them to be worth farming other than for your personal aesthetic. Something very, very interesting about the vanity items from the Easter raid is that they are level 100 with 2000 damage, and I'm kind of assuming that's why they're untradeable. One way to make these items work as tradable is just make them level 1 and make them do like 0 damage. Then they're pretty much only used for vanities, which is what their intended purpose was. Because no, you have to be level 400 to even attempt the raid. No level 400 is going to be using these weapons for their stats, because at level 400 you can have far better gear. But that is pretty much it for this update. If I missed something, please leave me a comment down below. It has only been out for 1 day, so I'm sure there's plenty of things that I am still learning about it, but this is a rough overview of everything that was added, and I hope this helps you guys out at least a little bit. Thank you very much for watching this video, and I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I will see you all later this week with plenty more RPG Simulator videos. Bye!